cool. Apparently, this is streaming, but I don't see the streaming controls anywhere. I'll just assume it's doing what it's supposed to do. Alright, good morning. It's 5:30, so I don't think we got news or anything this morning. You'll just have to bear with me. I'm a little bit gravelly. So, I got a couple alerts set here on EURUSD, so let's take a look at the higher time frame. Back out like an hour here. So everything about the current trend right now is telling me bearish. Right, we've left some IPA up here, which is concerning, so I don't know how far down we'll go before we come back up for this stuff. So that's why I'm waiting. Good chance we break this and I get an alert here in a little bit. I've set other future targets. These are liquidity targets that if price runs here and then starts taking, swing highs, or I should say swing lower highs here. If it starts taking these out and closing above them, we might turn our bias around and go long, but right now it's just short. And we're kind of stagnated around here. I mean, this line right here, do you see this blue line? This is something I drew up last night as the liquidity target. I didn't draw this up this morning. I didn't say, oh, look, it took that out. That was something I said, no. Price is going to come for these guys because it's such an obvious mark. This previous day high and the previous day high and the Asia high and all this triple high right here. The reason why this hasn't broken through yet is it's got to come down to get the fuel to blast through. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for it to get some fuel to blast through. But I got to see evidence that it's moving that direction before I get involved. But then once you have like clear targets where you're like, okay, it's definitely coming for these, well then you can align yourself with that move in the middle of the move, which is, that's how you should do it. And then over here on US30, it had kind of an interesting set. So this is an all-time high. We made a new all-time high on, I believe that's Friday. And then we made a little head and shoulders pattern, a little double top pattern, broke the neckline, and people were just selling all day. I had mentioned this in the class on Sunday. I was like, I know price hit something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It was the IPAs. It filled in these two giant blocks of IPAs. And then it made this move right here where it started breaking structure coming up. And then it swept this low. So if I was watching this on a 15-minute chart, oh, man. Yeah, I would have been in on this move right here. Let me show you. I'll even break it down to 5 minute. It's a beautiful 5 minute candle here. If you look at this 1 minute candle, you can see it here too. So he filled in all the IPA. That's why I was aggressively thinking let's go on this guy. Plus you can see right here, this little dupe right here is where you got a lot of buyers come in. Then you had to break this structure here, kind of made a little pattern, and then boom, swept this low. Beautiful. And I would have been in on that sucker from right there to right there. The 78%. That's all I needed to wait for. But that's just how it goes. But I mean, I'm in a totally reset mind right now, so I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm not gonna be getting involved with anything too soon. Got my alerts set. That's about it. I'm just gonna pause and I'll start this up again when I'm seeing anything worth jumping in. Peace. Just a quick dive. So all that happened was we had this build up and then a break, so that takes out this. Then we're having our response. If it breaks this here and then pulls back, I'm going to take the trade long. But it's going to take a little while to develop, so that's why I set my alerts here. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to tag that in. I also want to point this out. So someone might ask, like, well, if you're on a 1 minute chart and you see this sort of thing break, and then you see this like break and retest with like this strong candle, like, would you enter short? And the answer is like, not usually. And one of the reasons why is because this pullback didn't really take any liquidity with it. It's just very short. And the other reason too is that I try to never sell low. And if I was using this candle as a sell signal, I'm selling way too low. If I really wanted to sell, I'd sell when it filled in like this IPA or this one up here, and then showed a reaction and then pulled back deeply into that. But just how far down we are from the open of Asia down to where we are now, like I wouldn't be selling this candle. That doesn't make any sense to me personally, especially on a 1 minute chart. You know, looking at it here, it does look bearish. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Like, probably might be good selling here. Target the lows right here, but I don't feel it. Plus, you also have to look at how this 5 minute candle came down, and the reason there's so much volume here is because that's when buyers actually got interested again. So yeah, that's about it. What we do have, though, this is kind of interesting. So this is an hourly low from Friday, this little wick right here. And then this line I have drawn up right here is actually the 4 hour. So it's at 2200. So this is at like 10 p.m. Thursday night. So that's a nice 4 hour engulfing candle that, you know, price may be, somebody may be trailing their stops, you know, after this move right here. So they might be trailing their 4 hour. So that may also be just another target. But right now I'm not seeing the reaction yet to tell me this thing's turning around. So, you know, it's possible that it comes down here and takes this, and so then I guess maybe you would be right to enter on this candle, but I don't. It's just not in the right spot for me. Not enough risk to reward. Other than that, I'm just gonna pause this again and come back later. Peace. Yeah, it didn't actually break structure until here. Then you go to the previous pullback and so that's a little too choppy for me. Who got back to me? It was Megaton. He said that was good, thank you. I was like, alright. If you say so, bud. So I got shootbox. I want to hit some of these guys up today before I send out anything. is going up. So at this point, Asia high is probably the target. London high is probably the target. Oh. Give me a beautiful, beautiful spot here that if buyers come in and we get the last little dip of sellers, I'm going to put myself right there because I can see right here you've got the introduction of smart money. Just want to point this out real quick. So you remember a couple of minutes ago you said, well, what about this, bearish candle here that's showing me that price is moving in that direction? And I was like, yeah, it's not for me. And you can see it here. Like that was just a little fake out to get sellers involved. But I'm really watching these equal highs here. I want to see price come up, break this, and then come down and sweep where you've got these lows right here. But ultimately, I'm looking for it to sweep this one. And let's say price comes up to right like here. You'll notice my 78% is right underneath that candle. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see it go bloom, 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 bloom. Which might not happen till about 7:30. But that's the pattern I'm looking for. And with that, I will catch you guys later. What do we got here? So this is interesting, right? So on a 1 minute, it doesn't show you much. When I back out to a 5, you can see he had some stuff come in here. So I imagine there's a lot of liquidity here. So this looks like my break of structure. And if it pulls back to here, that would be my entry. But if I see a candle come that low in 1 5-minute setting, I don't know. That's too deep. Too deep for me. So I'm just going to sit on my hands for right now. I don't buy what we're seeing here. And as you zoom out, which is important to do before you engage in any sort of buy or sell operation, is to see if it really makes sense. And when I'm looking on like an hourly chart, we're about 5 minutes to finishing up. What you can see happening here is a battle to close this candle below this candle. And that's why we're kind of doing this thing. So in this particular case, I'm just going to wait because the hourly candles aren't showing me anything that tells me we're doing bullish stuff yet. Other than this not closing underneath this. But we'll see what happens in the next 3 minutes. So that's kind of, always zoom out. Always zoom out if you're not sure. You know, if you're getting caught up into these kind of things, you're like, well, this looks pretty good. It's turning around. Just look on the hourlies. All right, I'm going to pause it again. All right, there it is, folks. Now I'm seeing this bullish push that broke structure here on a 5-minute chart. Got a lot of orders coming in right here at the top. Let's see what happens. So that was super aggressive. So that would be taking advantage of people that were selling into this, putting stops up here, you know, that kind of stuff. But this candle, the reason this is doji is because there was a lot of orders sitting up here. And if we look, this is interesting because this sort of shit always happens right at the top of an hour. Look at that, 5:59, right before the hour closes, we push up and close above structure. And that's done on purpose. There's no way that's not done on purpose. So what does that give us? Well, now we see a nice little pin bar here and a push. And we've broken the structure I want to see. So now you've got two options, right? Usually, you know, sometimes price will come back and test this line right here. But I'm not sure I'm going to get a 78% on this. Let's see. We might, though. So that's all the evidence I need, to be honest. It would be nice to see it come like sweep these lows. Let's see. And I'm gonna bet it even takes this out and goes a little deeper. Let's see what happens. So this is what I'm doing. And look at that. What did I tell you guys I said if it comes up here, and I even have my fibs drawn, and I said it comes down here to my 78, that's where I'm going to put my buy. So I'm going to set a pending order there and just leave it. Because I don't care that it's coming down hard. Let me see. Or do I? So this is interesting. Let's see. We've taken out all. The only other swing we haven't taken out is this one. But I'm going to put in my pending order. That gave me the break. And I mean, it's just like, you couldn't ask for a better setup there. And we'll put that in at 1.1690. And we're going to do just like a little sixer right there. And I know this is coming hard and fast. And what does Danny say? When it goes fast, it doesn't last. So we're probably going to get a nice little fight. And I'm thinking it'll come back here right to my 78. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to put my 78 right there. And hopefully, I think 6 lots should be fine. I don't think that's going to be too much risk. So we'll just wait. See what happens. But you'll notice too that this did not break structure here. This is my other structure. So this little pullback may not even be a pullback. This is what I like to see. I like to see it kind of stagnate and then boom. That's what I like to see. Low risk, high reward. We could pop a long position on here and just show what that would look like. Up to the top of this. Yeah, 7-1. And I'm going to do my best to ignore the volume. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, look at this candle. This is beautiful. Yep, game grab that. And I'm hoping to get a dip down here. This first 5 minutes of the hour. Let's go. Now, there's two ways to look at this, right? The first way is to look and say, okay, this was my liquidity grab. And then this is my break of structure, and then the price comes back up here to sell, right? That's one way to look at it, and I totally respect that because that's in line with what is happening today, right? The other way to look at this is say we've got equal highs sitting up here. It couldn't break through. It needed to get this liquidity. This was the false reversal. This was the real liquidity sweep. And now that we've got the break of structure with the New York behind it, this may come down and just give us our entry. Because if this is the case and I see the strength of the reaction, well, then I've got like my risk to reward is great. If I'm wrong and it's going to come down here, well, then I just sit on my hand. That's fine. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Boom. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Yeah, this is tricky because this is my pattern going short. Yeah, and I'm and even so, this 6 o'clock hour may do something like this, where it just kind of waffles until the 7 o'clock hour comes and takes out the hour. Alright, this one, man, I'm gonna one, two, but not three. So that just tells me sellers are coming in. This is our structure right here that's gonna get attacked. So I want to know when that gets hit. And let's see. This is kind of the last little pizza fall before, because we're right up here. We're not at the height I want to be at yet. Moving up. So always zoom out. What do I see here? I see London unloaded, but then I see I got caught here. This is like, nope, going the other way. So where would people be trailing their stops? Let's say I just got into a buy here and I saw this come back. Well, as soon as I see this one right here, this is where I would be expecting price to pull back to. You've also got a little bit of IPA here too. So yeah, if it pulls back in here, I'm for sure I'll take that all day long. Is there a chance here that I would enter long? And the answer is no, not yet. This short position is really interesting though. Yeah, I was gonna say they give you a real good entry there if you're looking to go short. Yeah, I'll see what happens with this one. About 30 seconds in. I do not like watching those candles. And this is good because what this shows me is this shows me liquidity building on each side of this whole thing right here. And so, yeah, we took a little sweep. Yeah, we broke some minor structure. But, like, really, the real liquidity is sitting under this end and sitting over this end. And I hope we just tap this one real quick and then go. And you might look at these and say, well, look at these volume candles. Like, this one's not like a huge volume candle. And I'm like, yeah, what does that tell you? That tells you that the sellers were waiting. And then once it broke the high, the sellers got involved. But what does this candle tell you? The sellers aren't strong enough to break this weak candle yet. So, we still got a few minutes. Let's see what happens. So there's two different ways to play that. Like I said, you can go short, where I said to go short, which was you got this nice little bypass here. So you could go short here, or you could go long under here. And either one is fine. Like, either one would be great. I really like this one, though. This one is just, like, fucking spot on. And the reason why is look at that volume. And look at that. So this is creating a signature pattern. Hourly candle. What we got going on here? Yeah, that's what happens when an IPA gets filled in. So it typically has like a pretty high volume response. Lots of people sitting with sell orders here. We saw the previous day low, so that was a pretty big target to hit. We're currently moving higher, so I want to move with the current trend until it gets to, probably this one. I'd say it gets up into here today, but like at least this guy. So the question is, all right, where is the liquidity sitting? And I said this candle right here, this beautiful candle right here is asking to get smacked. And we may or may not hit this one, but this one is asking for the smackaroo. Look at this build up. Oh, it's beautiful. And you get a nice little no watching charts on a 15-minute chart. Nope. About halfway through this candle, it's going to be lower volume too, if it continues on this way. So it's doing low volume sells to induce sellers, and then once it hits here, we're gonna take off. Alright, looks like sellers are coming in hot for this last 15 minutes, which isn't surprising. Like I said, this candle right here is I don't know. We hit our liquidity target. We had our bottom. We might miss this one. Let's see what happens here. Just gonna leave that order sitting there. Because it's getting up to the hourly right now. Nice low volume pullback. Yep. Absorbing all the sell orders. We'll see if it sweeps, but now we've got strong candles coming in. But let's see what happens. I don't know. I know. I hear ya.
that's fun. It didn't quite hit my 78, so I wouldn't have been in on that anyway. It didn't quite So you can tell that having the weekend really does reset me, taking the day off. Because I didn't take this trade. I mean, it would have been low risk, high reward. But I wasn't about to take that. I want to see this get taken. And maybe we're coming down to filling this IPA, is what it looks like. So we had like triple manipulation on this fucking, dude, this is crazy. So right at equity, we came down and took out this swing or got close to it. Then we ran up and broke all these highs. Then we came back down and took this low. And then we came up and ran these highs. And then we came down and took all these lows. Now we're running. So it looks like we're heading down to filling this IPA, which is fine. Like it's good. Will we take the London low? It's gonna be a good question. I'm just gonna leave this guy here. I like to look at it kind of on a higher time frame to get a good judgment. Now, so far I've missed this. Like it looks like I've missed this, but my guess is it's gonna come up here and hit this, and then we're gonna get a push down here. Scary thing is like this is all inside of a bearish push down, so I'm like, you see it, like this is all inside of a bearish leg. And so yes, we're pushing up, but I see this hourly high, this IPA. I don't know if that's going to give us enough fuel to break this low, but we'll see. So I'll be looking at both sides of this equation, what happens when it gets up into here. But I definitely see this high where I have the question mark, does price close above this, as being my liquidity target if you're continuing the bearish move. But right now it looks like we got plenty of volume coming in that's rejecting these lows, so I got some targets up there. Not sure what they are yet, but we'll figure it out. And then what do we got down here? Yeah. So I'm going to erase this because I did not take this trade, nor would I have. The way this is closing, though, right at 7, that's insane. So that 15-minute candle engulfed everything. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to set another alert here on this low. And yeah, I mean it's looking bearish. I'm not gonna argue with that. Swept those highs, respected the London high. That means whoever was selling in this leg is still active. And there it is. There's a little fake out. Thought you were getting to that hour, didn't you? But check this out. This is what always happens. This hourly candle now becomes the target. I should go back and redraw my fibs though, because I don't know if they might have gotten a little higher. Let's see. So fibs from here to this high here. Yeah, I'm still going to put mine right underneath this 1 minute candle. I still feel like that's going to be a good spot. So I come back over to my top step X and I go to my 60 and I have it there, but I'm going to move it under here because now my fibs have changed. So now my fibs are right under all these. I'm just going to wait for it to come tap me in here. I'll still put it on the 78 though. So anyway, that's that. Has not swept this high yet, but it is starting to make its retracement. So I'm going to stay strong. I'm going to stay true to my original assessment. My gut is usually right. That these are all just hanging fruit. We'll see. And then everything about this is telling me bearish. I didn't get any like good pullbacks here. Yeah, there's just no good swings. Again, broken close low. Be interesting to see how it reacts from here. Once it takes the bottom.
Plus, it fills in the IPA. You know, this might not even get triggered until later. But I'm going to close it in an hour if it hasn't been taken yet. That's a nice 15-minute candle that goes above there. That's inducing buyers for sure. I don't know. I'll be back. I need to pause this because otherwise it's going to be super boring to watch.
just saw this IPA get filled in. So I'm going to just get rid of this, even though that was kind of a target of mine. So right now I don't have a 78 anymore, so I got to take this trade off. Sort of way past that. We broke this hourly high. You know, it's just unfortunate. I didn't get the pullback I wanted, but here's the interesting thing. My bias was right. So you can't beat that, man. When your bias is on and you kind of reading it right, and it feels good. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens when it gets above here, or if it does, because we hit that IPA, filled that in, and now we're coming down. If you know, I mean, lots of little swings here, but I'm looking for the low that made the high as being my structure. So I'm going to put a little alert here and see what happens if it gets back here. But at the same time, it's 7:15, so I didn't quite get my entry I wanted. Didn't quite get the entry I was looking for. So I probably won't get one before 8 o'clock before I'm done. Oh, look at this. What do you know? Fucking US30 doing what it does best. Fucking juking people out. Yeah, filling in this IPA here. There's not really a lot left after that. But those are some pretty strong buy candles coming in hot. Yeah. Came and took this liquidity that, I want to point this out, I had this drawn up this morning before this as a liquidity target. I saw this IPA as potentially getting hit, but it looks like this was the actual target. And there you have it. Super strong candles coming away. Let's see what happens when it gets up here and takes this guy. But this is all fascinating. So anyways, I'm going to pause. You can see why it rejected this area. Totally. And now it's 7 o'clock at the new 4-hour candle. We're showing a great deal of strength. So that's true, though.
Hey, Ryder. Um, did you? What were you gonna do for breakfast? Do you want to do cereal? We got some mango. What? Okay.
only to get my basket above $25 so I could get a same-day shipping. And they were like $1 each. So I was like, what's weird is they didn't even come in the same like bag as the other stuff. They came separate, like in a separate order.
Mom, this is what my teeth are doing. Anytime I chomp on a mango, it does this.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's you have different sized teeth in your mouth right now, so.
Why? I want to lose all my good teeth. Well, I'm homeschooled, so I don't have to go to school with this.
Excuse me. You want anything else, sir? I think our milk is his.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when it goes bad, it doesn't go bad the same way that pasteurized milk goes bad. I don't know if you noticed that. I guess I should have done that. Perfect. That would have been great. I was not paying attention to that, was I? I make a bagel? Do you want the raspberry one or the plain one? Did I say raspberry? Oh, I said raspberry. You understood what I was saying? So I was saying the wrong thing. You know, the fruit one. There you go. Right now? Alright, so we're gonna make a timeline first that we're gonna use for like the whole unit. And what I need you to do is see if you can track down a couple of large rectangular pieces of paper. They're like the ones that are like, have you seen them? They're like this big. You ever passed those before? You know where those are at? See if you can track those down, so we're gonna make a long timeline. Yeah, like big white pieces of paper, like rectangles. Grandma, I think, gave them to us a long time ago, but I don't know if we still have them. So I'm putting you on a mission to see if you can find them. All right. Yep. What?
These ones?
Yeah, those ones. So grab about. Let's grab like 3 of those.
Okay.
Oh, this is perfect. That's my structure.
There's the 3.
Okay. Now I want you to tape them together.
On the corner.
No, like. So we're gonna be making a timeline, so we're gonna tape them together like this. Just the 3 of them. Tape the short edges together. Mm-hmm. Very, very close to taking a long position here. I want. You have to do shitty internet, you said?
Yeah, I have to deal with shitty internet.
Oh, I hope not. So this is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the dip to here.
And then this is my structure. Yes. And if this comes and takes here and breaks here, I'm in. I'm also waiting for perhaps like an engulfing candle. So this should be interesting.
Alright, here's your timeline unwrapped scroll of doom.
Beautiful. Alright, can you go lay that on the table out there where we do our schoolwork?
So let's see, one thing I like to do here is just pause and ask as we go up in a higher time frame, does it make sense to go long in context? And I forget how Gabe had us do this. I thought it was settings. And that was take off the wicks. Yeah, that don't make no sense to go long right now. Yeah, so that's why we're not. Boom. Hey. Why didn't I take the short?
Just a sad face. That's what you're gonna give me. To your point. Just a fucking sad face.
Boo
That's
hoo.
what you loaded. It doesn't even have both eyes. It has one eye and a sad face.
Yep, sounds about right. Alright, this is glorious. So, look at this. You get equal and opposite reaction. Why? Because we just hit the 4-hour candle from yesterday. That's why. Now, I don't have enough confirmations or enough time to go long here. But this was the liquidity point I was looking for it to get hit. So you can see the top getting broken, the bottom getting broken. So if this breaks this high here, then it's guaranteed to keep going long. These candles make me happy though. Got high volume coming in. But no structure to break yet. I don't have enough time on the clock to take a trade, so I'm out. Peace. Good luck.